right, so in the last lesson, we learned about spending. So before you can spend, you have to earn, right? You have to get money to spend money. So we want to look at what factors should you consider when you're choosing career and an education, because that is what is going to set you up to earn the money to achieve your goals. So there are a lot of different careers out there. You could go into the science field, you could go into the arts field, and choosing the right career path is trickier than it may seem. There's this idea that if you choose a job that you love, something that you really enjoy doing, then you're not working, right? Now, we have to consider your goals, your short term goals, and your long term goals when taking this into account. So, for example, let's say you love animals and you want to work with animals, and you know you want to work with animals. So, you have to consider, could you work in an animal shelter and take care of those animals? That kind of job will probably pay you minimum wage, a little bit better than minimum wage, but you'll be doing something that you love. You'll be always working with animals. Another option would be to go to vet school. Veterinarians, again, work with animals, but their pay scale is higher because they had to go through school. So, again, thinking about your short term goals and your long term goals, what is going to be the best option for you? So, first, let's think about what interests you. There are many ways to evaluate what interests you. You can make lists of things that you like to do. You can think about, are you left brained, where you're very logical and particularly more interested in maybe math or computer systems? Or are you right brain, where you're more impulsive, you're into art and writing? Or maybe you're a little bit of both. In general, high school students, beginning college students don't really know. And that's why when you start off in college, you might take a wide array or very generalized courses to sort of try to get you to see the wide possibilities. Of course, that's expensive. You may want to determine what you want to do beforehand so that you do not have to waste a lot of time. You can take those college courses now. You can do dual enrollment. You could take tech classes. And then you could go right in when you go into college and take the courses that would prepare you for your career. So how do you determine what you're interested in? This link is to a career or an aptitude test. It asks you questions and it lists a bunch of different careers. It's a pretty good idea to show you where you might fall and what you might be interested in. So we do need to determine what you're interested in. Once you determine that you want to be, let's say, a history teacher, you have to say, okay, well, what do I do to get there? Do I have to go to college? Do I have to get a master's degree? Do I need on-the-job training? Most jobs are going to require education. It is very difficult to get right out of high school and get the job that you want, because high school is very generalized, right? That is your baseline understanding. College is going to prepare you for a specific career, for a specific job. Now, it doesn't have to be a 4-year college. It could be a tech college. It could be on-the-job training. It could be the military. There's a lot of different options, but you are going to need some sort of education beyond a high school diploma to earn a decent living. Make sure you're familiar with the different types of degrees that you can earn. A BA stands for a Bachelor's in Arts. I have a BA. I have two BAs. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Photojournalism. I have a Bachelor of Arts in History. There are many different programs of study that fall into the Bachelor of Arts. You could get a BS or a Bachelor's of Science. That would be a math degree, a science degree. And then after you go for 4 years, you can then go to a master's program. A master's program is much more specialized. after I completed my 4 years of undergraduate, I took some time. I taught in China. I tried working for a newspaper, took a bunch of pictures, and determined that I didn't really like the lifestyle. So I was like, I have this history degree. I would like to teach. And I discovered that I loved teaching. And so, but I determined that with a 4 year degree, I was not making enough money for what I needed. So I went and got my master's in education, which was 2 more years of school. So again, I looked at my long term goals. I evaluated that I needed to spend the time to get that master's to achieve my long term goals. You could go on and get your doctorate. A doctorate is, again, after your master's, so even more education, even more specialized. There are other degrees. There's like a law degree, which is a very specialized degree, and then of course medicine, which has a wide range of education things dependent upon what you study. All of this is expensive, so you want to be careful. Again, going back to that idea of looking at your long-term goals and your short-term goals, so that you don't waste your time, right? Because it is expensive. College, the cost of college is just going up and up and up. I could quote a number today, and then if with this video in 2 years, and that number would be doubled. So how are you going to pay for it? Are you going to get a job now in high school? Are you going to get financial aid? There are lots of financial aid options. There's scholarships and there's grants. You could get a part-time during college. So you have to think about, how are you going to pay for these degrees? Something to consider. The degree that you get does not guarantee you a job, right? So you have thought about your dreams and you've determined that you need to go to college. And let's say you want to be you want to be a photographer. Great. You get a photography degree. You spend 4 years and a lot of money, and you get out, and newspapers are very, very few and far between. So that is something you need to consider, that the degree you get may not be very valuable. Looking statistically, the most valuable degrees are going to be in STEM, which is also why they push STEM in high school. Science, technology, engineering, math. Engineering degrees, students with engineering degrees, only 10% of the people who get engineering degrees, when they are finished with their degrees, cannot find jobs. That's really good. So think about that. Do you want to take the risk, going back to our first lesson, of paying for a degree and being done and then not being able to find a job? Or is your dream of taking pictures worth it? Top 25 most useless degrees. Creative writing. There are options, right? So when you're thinking about why are these degrees useless, sometimes it's because they're too specific. Creative writing is very specific, and then you get out and there's not a lot of jobs that are looking for somebody with a creative writing degree, right? But if you got an English degree, it would incorporate some of those things that are in creative writing, along with a whole array of other things, so that maybe you could get out of college, find a job, work in that job, get experience, and then in a few years, maybe you would be more apt to get your dream job. So you need to think about, is the degree I'm getting too narrow? Is the degree I'm getting too broad based upon what I want to do? For example, communications has the opposite problem. Communications is an extremely broad degree. And so when you get out, when you go into a newspaper, they're like, but communications includes broadcasting. Communications includes working for radio. And you're like, oh, well, I write for newspapers. An English degree probably would have been better. And they actually have specific days for journalism. So again, if you are going into something very specific, you would want to pick a very specific degree. There are some degrees that are just dang worthless. Philosophy. I mean, I don't, what are you going to do with a philosophy degree? There are other jobs that there are degrees for, but you may not need to spend the money. Culinary arts. My sister got a culinary arts degree and she totally enjoyed her time. She learned a lot of information, but when she got out, the degree did not set her up for a better job. It didn't cause her to find a job more easily. It didn't cause her to earn more money. She could have gone directly from high school into the program, culinary art. So make sure that the job that you're looking for actually needs a degree and not just on the job training. So we want to look at your goals and your interests and then start thinking about how you get there. I hope that this will help you in achieving your dreams.